Welcome to Beers with Contractors.
Look at that, Terry. Record setup time. Like, no sound issues, none of that. You were a little fuzzy. But then again,
keep moving stuff, Will, which is fine. Change is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Last minute change when I'm not expecting it.
And when you're running late. And it's, well, we show this on Thursdays, everybody. Today's a Monday that we're filming this. So, hey, by the way, I got to give credit where credit's due. This weekend, I got to see one of Terry's little side projects. Terry is a self-proclaimed, like, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a business owner. But he's slowly taking over this little town near the city that we live in. Many of you guys know we're in Oklahoma City. And he's been slowly taking over this town. And he's been building out this restaurant. So, Terry, you've heard the statement, like, never trust a skinny chef, right?
Uh-huh.
So is that the next goal, is to own your own restaurant, or just to skim off the top of your product?
It is literally probably one of the worst hobbies ever because, I spend excessive amounts of money and time building something that may or may not work. My wife's in this industry. I love this industry. And it's not just teaching or being around folks in it. It's actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I grew up doing. And so it's a logical step for us. And so we're redoing an older bar. Second floor is going to be a vent space, office space. And if it doesn't rent out, I will have the world's nicest office with the largest mini bar.
Yes. Hold on. How long is this bar?
20, 30, probably about 32, 35 feet.
Yeah. So for any of you woodworkers out there, of course, we had John Milwaukee on episode, gosh, it was almost over a year ago. Terry has got this 3-inch thick black walnut bar all in one slab. And I'm like, holy cow, like, would that run you $6,000? He's like, no, I bought it for $1,300 down the street. Yeah. And I also ended up negotiating down this elderly lady at a pawn shop over some marble columns. For any of you guys that think Terry's the
White
soft
Knight
one of the bunch, dude, he's like those, what was that show on TLC?
Bargain Hunters?
No, they used to run around looking for junkers. They were junkers.
Oh, yeah. The American Pickers.
American Pickers. That's what you are in your heart and soul. I know that's what you're destined for. But
well, it's it's one of those things. You have a concept in your head, be it a business concept or a restaurant or something that you want to try. And if you think on it hard enough, you see things and you're like, that piece will fit there. And that's what it is.
And if it doesn't, what is it? Don't force it. Just bring a bigger hammer.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, these stickers are going to come up later. But no, it is kind of an interesting journey, and I get to see it from afar and not contribute anything to it other than, well, I bring you a case of beer when I come up. That's kind of, if you don't do that for your buddies, boy, you don't have buddies. But then we get to talk about just facts, random construction facts, where our wives are sitting there rolling their eyes, kind of like, that you haven't told the full story of the building. The upstairs used to be what?
A brothel.
And we, and a good friend of ours, Dr. Bigelow, we want to call this place the STD, or standard. When it opens up for a business, and I hope it does, Terry, you got to put some pictures of, or send me and Chris pictures.
Oh, that'd be a great one.
We got to show some pictures because, dude, the work looks amazing. Yep. I mean, there's a lot of craftsmanship to it. So proud, kudos to you, buddy. But I was out in Italy for a little bit, so got to drink lots of wine, eat a lot of food. And by the way, everything in Tuscany is pretty much stone and chestnut. And that's it. That's what you get.
Those are your options.
Dude, those buildings aren't going anywhere. But while I was there, you got to go to Orlando.
Yes.
To the AGC National Conference.
Yep.
And I'm pumped. You keep sending me stuff, and I'm like, no. Wait for the show. But for all of you guys out there, you tradies, you know that swag is a love language in construction. So most of us want the hats, you want the hoodies, you want the free tools. Well, I got stickers, and hold on, and Terry shows up, he goes, I got you a gift. And he brings me this shirt that says, I'm a freak in the spreadsheets. Oh, you know how turned on Sydney was when I showed her this shirt. Obviously I didn't have any pants on when I was wearing it, but no, I got of course, to be clear, stickers live very well in our studio. Yes, so I've got the Constructor Podcast sticker, emergency, don't force it, just get a bigger hammer. By the way, funny side quest. I was at a Caffarita, a cafe in Italy, And there was a little picture frame that said, in case of emergency, break glass. And in the middle of the glass was a condom. I didn't get a picture for you. I wish I would have got a picture. And then, of course, this will work perfect for the treehouse shed. Danger is my middle name. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. But so first off, let's break it down. Like, why were you down there? Because you went with a crowd.
Well, I went, so we had 4 students from OU's construction science program going down there to represent the OU AGC student chapter. And so I got the pleasure of, I'm not going to say babysitting, of accompanying these young adults. And so I had 2 juniors, 1 sophomore, 1 freshman that went down, and they're all within the construction science program. They're all going to be out, young construction professionals here within a few years.
Hold on. When we talked the other day, you said after the second day, my check liver light was on.
Oh,
so the aspiring young professionals that you took with you, did they partake, or were you the ringleader?
Nope.
Or were they just observing and reporting your behavior?
What I told them is they are young adults. They need to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. They did. So I think 2 of them were over the age of 21 and they partook when appropriate. The others, I don't know, and I don't think they did. But no, I mean, you've been to trade shows and conferences before.
Dude, accounting conferences are the wildest, man. You'd think like accounting and HR would be the most tame. No.
They need to cut loose.
Yeah, don't show up in a shirt that says I'm a freak of the spreadsheets to an accounting HR conference. Woo, you're a hot commodity, bro.
You know, the best part about this industry is like, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of long nights, hard deadlines that you have to hit, but it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so, you know, get up early, you know, go through educational events, go through events, stay out late, socializing, and then rinse and repeat. The kids were good at it. Students, young people. I don't know what you call them.
I think they're called little people now.
Little people.
PPC. But no, like I have held off for years going to the AGC National Conference. And then you were shooting me pictures and telling me all this stuff. And I have just heard it's out of this world. So, I mean, was this your first one?
It was my first one, you know, first time taking students down there, first time going. So it was the AGC National Convention down in Orlando. Just a great event. I mean, if you're involved at the general contractor level, you're a smaller sub, you're trying to understand what's coming down the pipes in terms of construction at a national level and what AGC is doing in Washington, D.C., and then their local chapters. There's a lot of good educational event, networking. I mean, the AI is a huge thing. Data centers are a huge thing. So all these subjects that, you know, we talk about or talked about in construction, and then, you know, the exhibit hall, like going to see the vendors and going to see the technology that's out there. I mean, it's a, you know, the swag is always nice. At some point you're like, all right, I don't need any more. I can't pack this all home. But the fact is that some of the technology, you know, and that's what I was sending you. I was sending you photos of AI software for accounting or for bidding or things that not just would affect the general contractor and have a positive light, but it hits the subcontractors too. It was great time.
Well, I know they've also got like forum and breakaway sessions.
Yep.
So, well, let's break this down first. What was the coolest tech you saw there that you were, and it's weird to say inventory and accounting, and I'm kind of like, woo, 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 don't you tip me with a good time, because I have a problem like that in my business right now, trying to track inventory. So, I mean, that was one. Describe it, because it does some cool shit.
Okay, so some of the technology, like AI, is everywhere, right? So there's probably, I don't know, better than, I'm going to say 5 to 10 vendors there that were selling their AI products, right? And it is products that will take your bid, take your quote, right? So say you submit a bid to an owner to do the work, right? And it's broken down. You throw it into this AI software, it puts it into Excel, spreadsheet, what have you, right? If it's not already there, it checks it, verifies it, that everything adds up, right? It puts it all. So it covers a lot of the basic job functions. But now you can link it to digital photos coming from your field about material deliveries, equipment coming in, like bills of lading, any of that, right? It takes all that and it cross-references it. And now it's just your superintendent, your foreman, taking a photo, emailing it over. And you think about it, I think they said about 800 a month for entry level, right?
Mhm.
I'm like, well, but 800 a month, that it can replace someone who's doing that job.
Well, not to mention some of the general contracting jobs that people are doing through AGC. Heck, even if you're a sub, the amount of money flowing through, and I think you know this, heck, we talk about it on the show with our guests. Like, we're not good at job costing.
No.
Which one of the major parts about job costing versus labor. Second is materials.
Well, if you're in this industry, you got into it. And if you got into it organically, you started it and you grew up doing it with your family, you're doing it because you like what you're doing, right? No one got into it like, I love spreadsheets and construction. And that's what I want to do. But, there's stuff that can take and visualize actual job sites so you can understand like the time that it would take to get something done when you're building a schedule, and it simulates and you can put in variables. I mean, the technology out there is just truly amazing. I gravitate to all the hands-on stuff, obviously, because the technology is really cool. I like the tools, right? And so Milwaukee, DeWalt, Max Tools, they all had really, really nice displays. And what was interesting is to see the advancements in battery technology.
I was going to say that's probably got to be the winner for what's coming out now for all the power tools.
Well, and that's the thing is like, right before this, I went into a friend of mine who works at a tool supply house here, and I needed a big 12.25-inch circular saw, right? Because I'm cutting those slabs. So I call him up, and he's like, yeah, I normally have them in stock. We're out. Let me see when they'll get here. Well, Milwaukee is discontinuing their corded circular saws.
Oh, really?
12.25 inch, right?
Do you think they'll become like a collector's item? Like,
I don't know. I got one now, so I'm hoping.
Like rather than having like an old Winchester rifle over the mantle, we'll have like corded circular saws. Dude, you have to have one of those saws personally. I've got one. It's 23 years old. It was a saw that I bought before Sydney and I got married, and I didn't have any money. Don't laugh, any of you guys out there. This is before they were, it's a Porter cable. All right, here comes the hate. I know.
But if it's that old, Porter cable was a great brand.
It's still running. It's awesome. Anyway, sorry. So they're going to do away with all their corded stuff.
They're getting away from corded tools, and it makes sense. Like they're getting away from gas powered tools too, right? You don't have a jumping jack compactor inside; it's battery powered, right? And Hilti's done the same, right? And in a lot of ways, it makes sense. But just see the battery technology, and I'm talking to these vendors. I'm like, you guys, if you really wanted to, you take a key from the local corner drug dealer, right? And what do you do?
Mr. Professor Terry Gluckfelter, I'm here talking to these people. Hey, come here. I got something I want to tell you.
You would give all these young people coming out their first battery tool, right? So you get them with a battery.
Oh, yeah.
And that first taste is free. And then at that point, I run DeWalt because that is the batteries I have. And I am so invested at this point.
There's no escape.
I can't escape it.
Well, hold on. Like, I don't know if you've thought of this, and hell, somebody out there is probably already working on the technology, but we got these charging pads for our cell phone now.
Yep.
And I set my cell phone down, it starts charging. Has any vendors started coming up with like the recharging pads? Because you're going to need to lay the tool down.
Yes.
And now I'm thinking more for saws.
Yeah.
Because that's nothing more frustrating than setting a tool down, climbing up, I don't know, $3 a scaffold and getting up there. And all of a sudden it's like, the battery's down, which I know they're working on that too, but
I haven't seen that.
You heard it here first today on Beers with Contractors. So if anybody spins that up, we'll have a intellectual property claim.
Yeah, let's see the patent paperwork on that one.
We'll chat GPT something up. But anyway.
No, in all reality, like the advancements in tools, they're getting, you look at any tool, right? If it can get the job done faster, better, and safer, and give the person who's operating it that may have less skill than the person 20 years ago, the ability to make that connection with plumbing or electrical work, right?
Yeah.
Then it's an amazing takeoff. And, it is a good thing to see. Amazing tools. They were not giving away tools, and that's why you didn't get any. So,
By the way, I know you're a Tesla guy, and I don't knock you for that. I think Tesla's got some awesome products. What's the humanoid robot old Elon's coming out with? Optimus?
yeah.
I want to, people are like, wow, AI is not coming for the trades. If those were ever affordable, they'd be massively helpful on job sites. Like, listen, I need that pallet of bricks moved over there while we work on the more specialty detail that you can't do. Was there anything like that there?
No, they didn't have Optimus out there. They didn't have that automation yet. Again, the industry we're in, we're going to see disruptions from AI. We're going to see disruptions from automation. The fact of the matter is, and what I tell my students is, don't be afraid of it. Look at it as a tool.
Yeah,
And
integrate.
if you can use that tool better than someone else, you're going to get the job.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you hire somebody today, if you see bilingual in there or multiple languages, you're like, bonus, poof.
Yep.
And you would probably hire that person over another one. If you're looking at a resume, call it in 2 years and they're, AI integrated and they've worked with these different sets like Claude, Chat, call it Mongo database backends with AI. It's like, yeah, I'm going to hire that kid.
Well, and there was AI software for safety, right? I think it's through Hammer Tech. I think I might be wrong on the name, but their software does a few things. One, it digitizes all of the safety documentation that you need to do in the field, right? So now that superintendent who's been in the field with the flip phone and doesn't like anything, right? Now he can dictate his safety report, right, to the system. And he just has a prompt of questions that it's going to ask him. So now it's digitized and it gets done. It doesn't live on his dashboard of his truck, right?
Yeah.
And now you can take that safety brief and it will automatically translate it to whatever language your employees are. So instead of the guy who only speaks Spanish going, do you understand? He's like, oh yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Now you can be like, do you understand? He's like, oh yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that it can track your safety incidences and kind of give you a graph and say, all right, hey, you're doing a lot of this, but we've noticed hand injuries are kind of on the rise, right? Maybe have a talk about like wearing personal protective equipment on your hands, right? Or glasses, or you're moving into this phase and the industry has seen an increase in X, Y, and Z. The ability to have a safer job site and have it just have someone or a system that all it's doing is looking at that technology or looking at what's going on and giving you prompts saying, hey, you might want to talk about this.
Yeah.
That there's value in that.
Will it track like the individual? Like, oh yeah, Terry over there, we have 90% of our accidents with Terry.
Well, they're getting to the low where
not where Terry's the one injured, just under Terry's supervision.
Well, so
and by the way, Terry is not Terry Kleinfelter. It's a fictitious Terry.
Yeah.
So let's call him Jerry.
Jerry.
Jerry's such a fuckwad, man. He's always screwing something up.
He's completely unsafe,
but always comes out unscathed. We've had those guys. We've worked around them. They're like, just rub dirt in it. And it's like, damn, like everybody's getting hurt underneath this guy.
Well, what they're talking about is they're integrating this AI safety software, right, technology, in with video capture. That now you have you have a hard hat camera following you around, and now it's identifying slips and trips, right? Impossible. Like, hey, here you have this issue. I think the question was raised is, and it's good technology. Are we getting to a point where we're going to have the young people just relying on that, right? Not looking out for it themselves, and they need to look out for it themselves. But you know it as well as I do. You can see issues and maybe it slips your mind and you don't address it, right?
Oh man, when it gets to 105 degrees outside, and you get up against a deadline on a certain milestone on a project, man, the pressure's on and stuff just gets dropped. And well, let's just talk about this for dig safety.
Okay.
Dig safety, dude, this is huge.
And rightfully so.
because, man, I mean, well, I don't know how you feel. You probably dug a few trenches, right, Terry?
Uh-huh.
When you're like 4 stories up on a scaffolding, the reality of your decisions become very, very
Yes.
clear because you're like, holy shit, bro.
It's
Like,
a long way down.
I'm up here. When you're down in a trench, you're like, oh yeah, there's like the ground right there. And so many like issues with, trench failure.
Mhm.
And dude, it's scary, man, because that's the world I live in.
Yep.
And guys do it all the time. And it's like, I would pay for something that would be like, alert, not only alert the employee, but even me to say, holy cow, like this is a big issue. Because just as well as I do, when that happens, there's no time to act.
No, I think one of the most horrific stories shortly after I moved out here to Oklahoma, was 2 guys on the weekend. They were digging in a septic tank, cave in on them, and they ended up dying. And it's like, and they're working on the weekends, right?
Yeah.
No one should die because they're putting in a septic tank, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. You look at trench safety, you look at that level of accidents in our industry is so very high, and we lose people for stupid reasons. And anything that the industry can do or technology can do to help improve it, it as well. Me and you have both made stupid choices.
Bro.
We're like, oh, I'll be okay this time, right? At some time, your luck's gonna run out.
Yeah. Hold on. Hold your hands up, Terry. How many fingers you got? Okay.
Last
cool.
time I counted, I had 10.
Like, bro, that's the first thing that would go off is like, there's no guards on the table saws. Or there's no, well, in my personal shop, to be clear, not my shop, but there's no silica protection. There's no respirators. Where's your, what? Huh? What? Yeah, there's no ear protection. But anyway, like, I'm thinking of the concept of even like a commercial job site. Bro, there is so much going on simultaneously on a commercial site. I would hate to be a site superintendent, managing all that chaos. And so when I hear about things like that, and I know we belabored the topic, but like that's game-changing tech.
Mhm.
All right, tell me something that's a cool to have that you saw there, but it's like, but it's pretty fancy and cool. Kind of like a brand new, remember when like a Nintendo GameCube came out? All right, tradies, I know lead generation has been top of mind for all of us this last year and going into 2026. So let me put you onto a marketing team I actually trust, Greenbaum Steyer's Strategic Marketing Group. And oh yeah, they're friends and network affiliate of ours, but I'm telling you straight, these guys are different. Most marketing agents, they've never worn boots. They never dealt with seasonality, weird leads, price shoppers, no shows. Mrs. Johnson calling you back 3 times because her basement feels wet. Greenbaum Steyer's was literally born out of a successful foundation repair and waterproofing company like mine, so they actually understand how our businesses work. They've been doing this since 2017. They're a full-service branding website. They convert with SEO, compounding over time, traditional media buying, and of course, lead generation that makes the phone ring. But the big thing is strategy. They're focused on helping you overcome what's holding you back, tighten up your systems, and hit real goals, profitable goals, and not just some vanity metrics and pretty reports that you can brag about at some conference. So if you're tired of guessing, tired of wasting money, and you want a team that knows contractors and knows how to drive results, go check out Greenbaum Steyer's Strategic Marketing Group. Tell them Will and Terry sent you. Their website's greenbaumsteyers.com. That's GREENBAUMSTIERS.com. I'll put it in the link. Keep grinding out there, tradies.
Well, I'll tell you the most random booth I saw, and my students saw it too.
Uh-huh.
And so the fact that I have like 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds saying like, why the Cutco knife guy here?
Oh, there was a Cutco? Dude, those guys are ruthless, man.
He was there.
We'll be anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Shit.
Yeah, so that was the most random. So the most, how do you phrase it? Like the
cool to have, that's pretty neat, but not applicable.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean,
it sounds like Cutco. Actually, it's funny. We were cooking some things this weekend, and my wife was like, "These knives are shitty." And I'm like, we need new knives. And then I hear this.
You need to call Cutco.
If Cutco gets AI, we're screwed, bro. Like all of a sudden I'm going to have somebody showing up my house tomorrow.
Well, I think one of my students asked me, like, is this a pyramid scheme? I'm like, you can't ask them that. No, I mean, in all reality, looking at some of the like tool technology, I'll just kind of go there. You know, some of the tool technology, they're starting to get stuff that with like interchangeable heads. So like you have one impact and now it's a drill.
Oh, I've
And
seen
now
those. Are they as cool as they look like on the shorts?
They look really cool, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I can hardly keep track of my drill or my driver. And now I'm taking a smaller part. I'm going to lose that smaller part quicker.
That's actually true because I like multiply that by 20 employees.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, you don't have to answer truthfully, Terry, but like how many drill bit sets do you just have laying around that have been incomplete and just kind of jangled up?
Oh yeah. No,
I passed along.
I probably have 3 old sets that are like completely like less than 50% complete, right?
Uh-huh.
And I have 1 new set. And that 1 new set, that's like you open it's like, and it is like I use a drill, I use a bit, I put it back, I screw the lid on, set it back in its spot,
And then put it in a safe, spin the combo lock. I mean, we're about to start on a new project here in the studio, but I can tell you there's 3 bit sets here. None of them have a T25 bit in them because I've lost every. They're like at least 95% complete. It is the drill bit sets are the modern day equivalent of the 100 pack of Crayola crayons that you used to get with all the cool colors.
You just have white left.
Yeah, and then you just have no colors left that you actually need. Because your friend Jerry, we'll call him Jerry, ate the crayons and then, you got caught up on a project and all of a sudden it was quitting time and then you left. But yeah, that's the tech we need in construction.
I will give a shout out to Milwaukee.
Now, hold on. This isn't because they're trying to win your business or a tool room.
This is because they care about the kids.
Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, make it about the kids.
Make it about the kids. So, I'm running dual roles because me and you are on the kids camp, right?
Yep.
Construction camp. So I'm there. I'm talking to the Milwaukee rep and I'm like, hey, I got a question for you that no one's ever asked. I guarantee you. So you have these giant, large branded Jenga sets on all the tables. What do I have to do to walk away with one? All right. I'm like, hey, I help put on a kids camp, introduce these young people to career pathways in construction. And we're always looking for a way to kill time.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, that's great. Last day, I get a phone call. I'm like, I have no idea who this is. Some random number. Pick up. It's that rep. They're breaking down everything. They're like, hey, where you at? I'm like, oh, I'm here. He's like, hey, I got something for you. I'm like, hey, free tool. All excited. Right over there. Nope. Got that Jenga set. So come this summer when we have our kids camp, I have one giant Milwaukee Jenga set for them to play with,
bro. And it was probably made with a Ryobi.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that the TSA does a great job because when that came through in my carry-on, they did not know what to make of it. They're like, sir, is there anything in here? I'm like, a lot of wood blocks and some hearing protection, but yeah, go for it.
How many blocks are there?
It's a box, man.
Oh, you brought it with you.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it's with me.
Oh, you're the sucker. They were like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Home.
Yeah, I know it says sucker
Actually,
on the top.
I know if they made it for a trade show, it looks good. So, by the way, you mentioned DeWalt before.
Yep.
Like growing up, we were a big Makita and Bosch family. Now, I'm going to be clear. Like Makita was really common out east. And I remember having some intense trim level, like we're talking slide saws, miter saws, table saws. Oh, we had Grizzlies, tons of Grizzly stuff.
Okay.
But dude, I went looking around Home Depot and Lowe's the other day for something. I didn't see any Makita stuff. Like what? Like, is that not a thing anymore? And I've been out of it. So any of you guys out there thinking like, where the hell have you been living under a rock?
Well, he's been sitting behind a big executive desk is where he's been sitting.
Well, no, most of my tools now are like concrete tools. They're like, I got a lot of, you've been to my shop. It's a ton of Hilti stuff.
I tell you this, guys. I walk into Vesta Foundation Solutions and I hear them talking to Will and they say, hey, Blister, how's it doing? And they call him that because he shows up when the work is done.
That's funny.
No, I mean, like, it's the same thing. I grew up around Porter Cable, right? I have some of my dad's Porter Cable routers.
Oh, remember Delta?
I have
Delta used to be badass.
I have a Delta Unisaw table saw, and it's cast iron, right? And the thing's rock.
Hold on. Is Delta even a company anymore?
And if it is, it's probably bought by someone and using the name.
When we get some good old like you podcast money, we should create a Delta woodworking booth. It's completely fictitious at the next conference. And it's the stuff that we used. My parents still have the Delta shaper and cabinet saw sitting in North Carolina. I'll ship them. Back when, by the way, sponsors, listen up here. Terry and I are on a mission. It's going to help the kids. And we'll just ship some janky, rusty old equipment that still runs. By the way, most like hearing damage on construction in the early days was not because of jackhammers and things like that. It was Delta tools. But they're still running today, bro.
No, and like, I mean, and that's the thing. You saw stop and all that new technology, right? That's safer and stop when a hot dog hits over your finger.
Those are pretty cool, though. Saw stop, pretty crazy.
But like, you fire up a Delta cabinet saw, right? And you're talking about, that thing just hums, and it ain't stopping for anything. Be it like,
hey, what's that saw you have in your shop?
It's a Delta.
Oh, that's right. It is a Delta, but yours is quiet.
And it's older than. I don't know if it's older than me. It's older than most of my students.
Yeah, that's a slick saw, but yeah, you send your thumb through that. It's not going to go, whoa, timeout.
No. It's going to say, stupid.
As you trip backwards onto your welder and then fall into a little crate pit.
And that's the thing. It's like the tools that are coming out, like the battery technology, like I was using, like there was something I was doing right before I left, right?
Yeah.
And, my dad comes up, he came up and helped me. That's who works with me on the bar. And that's how me and him bond together, right? Is working. Like we don't say anything to each other, but we just work. And that's, that's love.
It's
right?
men talk. Yeah. Men bonding. I do have a segue. You mentioned battery technologies getting better. Like what specifically about battery technology?
So,
because I know Hilti's got their Neuron stuff.
Yep.
It's showing stress, a little bit of GPS tracking, some Bluetooth stuff, but like really, like we're talking about battery.
I like the stuff that charges faster, runs longer, and is lighter, right? So you see your lithium battery packs that are going to hold a charge longer. The problem is you put it on anything like your grinder, you put it on a saw that you're really bogging down. Yeah. It's still going to burn through it. And, right before I left on this trip, my dad was up here. I had to drill some holes and some, I think it's 1/4-inch steel, right? Steel plate. Normally I just pull out old battery drill, right? Go to town. Except I'd given it away and put it somewhere. So I had to go find the corded drill.
When was the last? You don't have an arm brace on though.
I know. When was the last time you used a corded drill?
Did you even have a chuck for it?
Yeah, I did because I duct taped it. Right? Yeah, I duct taped the chuck to it. That's how you know where you're at. But I'm using this thing, and the torque on it is just it's just going through it. And the only thing I'm thinking is, how many times would I change the battery? Right? And do I get the same power? And I'm like, no, this is the easiest thing I've done. I should pull this thing out. And then I have to change the bit. And I'm like,
and the building's on fire because of the burning. And you had to change bit 4 times because of the speed. And then when it got through, it locked you up and spun you halfway around the room.
Well, you say that, you talk about breaking your wrist. DeWalt's got a drill that if it turns too quickly to the side, it shuts off. I'm like,
now what type of drill? We're not talking about like an impact driver. Like we're talking about a hammer drill.
No, they're just their battery powered drill. right? So, hammer function, drill function.
Tradies, running your small business can be demanding. You got suppliers you got to work with. You're managing crews. Hell, you're chasing sales. It's a lot to take in. Listen, if you want to grow your business, you got to stop working in it and you got to start working on it. So that's where my friends at Foundation Rescue Supply come in. You're not just getting foundation repair products and waterproofing products and air quality control products. With their nationwide distribution, you're getting a partner who knows how to help you scale. And that's why I use them. The Foundation Rescue Supply team has industry knowledge that'll help make your life easier. You get the tools, the trainings, the systems that you need to move the needle. You want your sales team to close more leads? Done, because they have the proven process for that. You need your crews to work smarter, not harder? Done. Their installation training will get you out there and rocking and rolling in the field. With Foundation Rescue Supply, you're not just buying materials here, you're buying a better business system that they have helped create. And you sell more, you install more, and you grow your team. So the bottom line is this: you get best industry pricing, you get field productivity on track, and you get more revenue out of everybody on your team. So this is your chance to step up, scale up, and thrive. If you are ready to make that happen, head to foundationrescuesupply.com, check out their catalog, and speak to my friends, their team, how you can take beyond the products with your company with Foundation Rescue Supply. I had been knocked upside the head by corded drills my entire life. That's why I'm so smart. Got some screws loose in there. Actually, I think that should be a rite of passage in construction, is you get knocked upside the head by a drill that locks up just once. Like in law enforcement, like you have to get tased or you have to get maced. Like that's what it is. You have to get knocked upside the head by a rotary hammer drill or some type of heavy drill that locks up in whatever the hell you're boring. Oh man. All right, cool. So we went through that. What were the breakaway sessions? What's the big thing on the horizon, the stuff that's like, oh, this is actually good for industry?
Oh, so I went through to a session talking about data centers. Data centers, and you think about it, right? So like what people are freaking out about right now is these giant data centers in the middle of nowhere, right? They consume all this power and all this water and these resources, and they do that, and they're working on it and they're making it better. Well, the amount of power they're going to consume is only going to go up. They're going to be smaller and consume more power because the technology is getting that way. But what you don't think about, and what I didn't think about, is these data centers are going to have to get closer and closer and closer to the population base, right? So right now they're out in rural wherever, right?
Yeah.
Because chat GBT something, you say, hey, figure this question out, give me an answer. It sends it off, it does it, comes back, right?
Yeah.
Well, at some point, you're going to be standing in front of a Walmart or some other store, and you're going to have an AI function, and you're going to ask it a question, and it's going to be about that store.
Yeah.
Well, the latency for it to go way out there and then come back is not going to be what you want. So they're going to have that data center closer. All the people who are freaking out about data centers far out in the middle of nowhere, soon they're going to be right in your backyard. Go ahead and get your freak out on that.
Yeah, but I can only assume that this worry about like AI and whatnot, like the data centers are a great thing for the trades.
Become an electrician.
Like it's one of those where it's like the gold rush is happening, sell the shovels, which is essentially building the frickin' data centers, which the capital is just bountiful now for. And like, even if they are out in the middle of nowhere, there's a lot of areas of that entire transaction that have to happen. We're talking about sales, design, procurement, the actual installs, freaking just the rebar alone in these data centers. Like that is producing an insane amount for the industry.
Well, they liken it to the same as oil field, right? Where you have these oil field workers come in and they go into this area and everything benefits, right? The food, the coffee shop, the hotel, the lodging, all that. One of the speakers who traveled a whole lot last year said the most expensive place he stayed was a Holiday Inn somewhere near a data center. And that place was 100% booked up. And by 5 a.m., there was not a car in the parking lot because everyone's off doing the work.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And
so there you go. There's the other one. Now we got to have more hotels, and then those got to be built by contractors. And Now, granted, there's a bubble that eventually, or not a bubble, I should say, like a bell curve. That's what I meant to say. But then you got to still employ people, even though you say, well, a data center doesn't need 500 employees. Well, it's still 50, you know? And hell, I had this happen this morning. We had a database go down. Yeah, it sucks when it happens. And it's really nice to have somebody that can fix it.
You can fix it. No, I mean, you know, so technology like that. The other thing, I went to AGC. I took 4 students from the OU's construction science program, but there was construction programs from Auburn, Penn State, Pitt. I mean, Oklahoma State University, all these different universities. There was over 200 young people, right? And I say young people, 25 years or less, right?
Not like us.
No, we're not classified as young. There is over 200 young people there that are going towards this industry. And you sit back and you listen to these people talk, interact with industry professionals. I mean, I know I didn't have my stuff together like they did when they were young.
Yeah.
I know you didn't, and I didn't even know you were at that age.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is that they're going into an industry that they are going to just kick ass. And that is such a relief to see, is that they are excited about their jobs. They're excited about their internships, and they're going to step into an industry and they're going to make great money, and they're going to have a career that they love. And to see that was just so rewarding.
Yeah. Now, the conference was what, 3 days?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, ended on Friday. 4 days.
Yeah, I got some messages out there, not just from you, from others. They were like, where are you at? Why aren't you here? And honestly, it would have been great to be on Orlando. But we talked about some of the technology piece, tools, you know, some of the breakaways. I know the AGC's done a lot. By the way, we're not affiliated with AGC other than their support through our nonprofit. What legislative things were mentioned or even murmured or that you were hearing about there? Because
everything that you see, right? Everything that's probably affecting a lot of the folks, like immigration, right? You know, the fact of the matter is we have a workforce shortage, right? And we can't fill it enough, right? And because of choices that our society make, demonizing hands-on education, right? And we've corrected that in some ways. So immigration was something they talked about. You know, they walk this.
What it is polarizing is a lot of, I think like social media, you talk about it, it's going to be polarizing. But like in an atmosphere like that, was fucking, ship everybody off? And it's like, no, we need people like.
Everyone's realistic. Yeah. I mean, we all understand that there's a workforce shortage. How we fill that, if we fill, you know, path A or path B, right? It's got to get filled. You know, the fact of the matter is that they walk a fine line in terms of legislation trying to promote construction projects nationally. What scares me, and I think should scare everyone, is the infrastructure that we have in this country, be it our roads, our power grid, our waterways. That is old. And like, it is significantly, it was installed and it was constructed long ago. And wow, it probably hasn't been maintained the way it should. It is something we're going to continuously use, right? I mean, if you look at our power grid system, we're running on a very old, antiquated system. It needs to be repaired. Like if you just go in and repair it, not even replace it, right? There's career pathways for years. And hopefully we understand that if we want these data centers, right, and if they don't have modular on-site power, they're going to be pulling power. Well, we got to have the lines to get it there. And I think people miss that a lot of times.
Well, hold on. When you say modular on-site power, you mean diesel generators, probably?
Nuclear.
Oh, yeah. I read some of that tech.
Oh, yeah. Nuclear is back. And for all the people who think it's going to be like the Homer Simpson three-eyed fish.
Well, no, I mean, were they talking about that AGC? Yeah. That's cool. I've been reading about this, and obviously I'm looking at it from an investment perspective, like early in, and it's fragmented. So there's there's still some companies out there figuring out, but there's some, micro nuclear reactors.
So they're building these large campuses of data centers, right? And I say large campuses, they're not going to have that many people, but they're going to have massive amount of energy use.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the usage is just getting higher and higher and higher, right? And so unless they crack that code, they haven't told me, you're going to need something on site. And it's so much more cost effective to have it on site than to bring it in hundreds of miles. And what happens if you have it on site? Now, you're not raising the cost of utilities for your local neighbors, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might have emergency backup where you can still tap into the grid, because it's not like you just have one pathway. You have to have multiple pathways to run this thing.
Yeah.
You can't just let it go down. It's like, no, we'll fix it next week. No.
Yeah. well, no, like I saw like the throw off the waste from these, which we would normally doom and gloom think it's like these large coils are down to like pellets.
Yeah.
Like nutso level. So are you guys, so let me ask you, is there a plan to start to integrate this new nuclear technology into the trades curriculum?
Oh.
I mean, seriously, like I could see it, not just, we're talking about data centers for the construction of it, but they're eventually just going to need them for the ongoing maintenance and power of, and that's not your normal electrical. I mean, the hookup is.
I mean, like at some point you got
it's
the guys.
Not normal. Sorry, you Sparkies out there are probably going to give me a lot of shit about that. Like fucking normal about electrical, fucking crazy. They got hair stood up straight.
Well, at some point they bring in this modular box, right? Whatever this box looks like.
No,
right?
I've seen that tech. It is cool. I'm surprised oil and gas doesn't just eat that up too, because they're out in the middle of nowhere. Hell, there's just so many uses. Military, oil and gas, data centers, emergency. Like, let's just talk FEMA. Like, this is cool that they're talking about it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that they have problems that they're trying to solve. Like water is going to be a huge thing, right? Keeping these things cool. They're starting to move towards cooling systems that are liquid cooled for the technology, right? So they're not using water, they're using a different type of liquid. But I mean, what a time to be alive. If you're an electrician, you're a pipe fitter, you're in one of these trades, and if you're not committed to where you're staying, travel and go make so much money working on these projects.
Once I was thinking, I was like, man, some of these conferences, and I get a lot of grief because people are like, are you going to this conference? And I become a little jaded because when I see Vegas on a conference, I'm like, I really don't want to go back to Vegas, but there's some really good conferences.
I want to go to World of Concrete. Like if anyone wants to pay for me, I will go to World of Concrete.
Yeah, we'll wear your shirt. Terry will wear your shirt for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I know. Every Friday.
World of Concrete's wild, man. It's just like AGC from what I hear, but so is International Building Show. But it comes back to this aspect of there is so much opportunity. I think if I wanted to get into the industry now, rather than just dabbling on Indeed and kind of figuring it out, I would probably go to a conference now.
Well, if you want to get into this industry and you were young, let's be honest.
No, even today, like, dude, I'm geeking out about fucking inventory software and nuclear fusion and whatever. Like, this stuff interests me. And also, me, we joke a lot and whatever. But like, my heart is in the industry. And I know that if we don't fix some of these problems, like, we're kind of screwed, bro.
No. So AGC, they highlighted all the new technology. They showed so much love to these young people coming up. So the other thing is they talked about community in this industry that we're in, construction industry, and in all the different facets. This industry loves to give back, right? And so one of the things they talked about.
By the way, I'm glad to hear you say that, because me from the home services side, you don't hear that a lot.
Oh,
but AGC, I know there's home services at AGC, but mainly general contracting and heavy construction. But I'm hoping that moves its way down.
Well, I mean, I listened to nothing but, they had one session, they highlighted it at the closing session. This is how much it means to them. They highlighted what student organizations are doing for the community. They highlighted what their members are doing for the community, right? they talked about how this industry gives back. And it's true. Like, we put on a construction camp every year that helps 60 to 100 kids, right? And that camp is completely funded by industry, promoted by industry, and staffed by industry. That camp doesn't happen. We don't make those kids pay, and that camp's not cheap. This industry, and I'm going to say this industry more than most anything I've ever seen, is more than happy to help out that next generation and help out their community.
I'm glad you went. Next time I'm going to give you some, I know you don't wear glasses. I'm going to get you some of those meta glasses so you can walk around. Be sure to turn it off when you go to the bathroom.
Yeah. That I can just see this going bad from now on. Yeah. Okay.
A friend of mine's got some meta glasses that he's trying to do like training videos and SOPs on. And he's like, yeah, there's been some weird scenarios, never like a bathroom trip type thing, but some curse words and, some fits that were documented by it, but it's only coming around soon enough with the tech. But oh man, Terry, what I love about this is we've already talked about it, but then now you start uncovering all these other things, and I'm like, why the fuck didn't you tell me that before? But it's cool.
Yep.
And I'm excited to have you as reconnaissance for this type of stuff. And I, of course, love drinking beer with you, bro.
All the time.
And to you guys out there, thanks for sitting around another episode of Beers with Contractors while I mess with Terry's stuff and moved our location. But otherwise, I'll see you next week on another episode. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
See ya.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Beers with Contractors. We hope you enjoyed our chat as much as we did. Before we say our final goodbyes, a friendly reminder. Beers with Contractors encourages responsible drinking. If you choose to enjoy a beverage during our time together, please do so in moderation and only if you're of legal drinking age in your country or state. Furthermore, the advice and insights shared in this podcast are for informational purposes only. Always consult with professionals and experts in your field, and be sure to follow local laws and regulations regarding licensing and permits. We're here to help, entertain, and inspire, but your safety and compliance are important. So, as you head out into the world of construction and contracting, remember to build responsibly and make decisions that stand the test of time. Thanks for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next episode of Beers with Contractors. Until then, cheers to your success.